Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll give you a complete tutorial of how to ruin the gravel race that you've been working hard for all year by just ignoring the basics. And I'll do this with myself as the very best example. Have you ever been in a situation where you've had laser focus on one thing, and that laser focus made you completely forget or ignore other, maybe even more important things? It could be going for an extremely long ride, being afraid of bonking, and all your focus goes to bringing enough carbs. So you forget all about bringing extra tubes or a pump or whatever, and puncturing 100 k's from home, and having no equipment to fix your bike. It could also be being at work and being super focused on getting work done so you can get home and go for a ride, and forgetting all about eating lunch and getting a cup of water and so on. So when you finally get home from work, you're completely depleted of energy and whatever, so you have nothing when it comes to training, no energy in the pedals. Well, this video is a story about me being laser focused on one thing and completely ignoring the basics, the most important things. If you are anything like me, you probably also like to get smarter and learn about the training, nutrition, the latest gear, and so on. One of the things I've been reading and learning a lot about lately is nutrition and getting enough carbs in training and in racing. As far as I know, many of the crazy performances we see from pro riders today, partly anyways, comes from a different focus in nutrition, where back in the days it was all about cutting the carbs, getting lean, where today it's all about getting as much energy into the system as possible so that you can perform better on a long day. So with this new knowledge, I went to the Netherlands some weeks ago to compete at the Gravel 150, which is an ICU gravel event. And I did so with the hopes of qualifying for the World Championships. And according to my research and so on, I thought there would be a fair chance to qualify, but it would definitely be something I had to work hard for. In order to get sufficient carbs during the race in a smart fashion, I employed a pretty aggressive energy strategy. I brought 3 bottles, 2 in the frame and 1 in a back pocket. In 2 of these bottles, I mixed them with the double amount of carbs that I would normally do. I did this in order to have enough carbs in each bottle for approximately 2 hours. So with the 2 bottles in the frame, which was with the double concentration, and the 1 in the back pocket with the normal concentration, I, according to my calculations, had enough carbs for the entire race. I would not have to think about gels or anything. So in my approach to get enough carbs and do it smart, in anticipation of a crazy race where there wouldn't be much time to think or anything else, I thought this would be a pretty smart strategy. So as you've probably figured out, my laser focus for this race was to get enough carbs and do it in an easy and simple way. 1 or 2 things I didn't really account for in my very smart planning was that I'm a huge sweater. I have big muscles and I burn hot, so I need lots of water. A little note to myself: I need way more water. Something I've known for 10 plus years. And it ended up being a pretty hot day, around 27 degrees, So yeah, that's two major red flags that I didn't really bring into the calculation beforehand. The gun went off and the pace was hot from the start. Which was exactly what I expected. I tried as hard as I could to stay near the front, and I actually managed to stay near the front of my age group longer than I dared to hope for. Had a tiny little stupid crash in a sand section at around 45 minutes, but no biggie. It was straight into hunt mode, trying to get back on the train. Didn't really succeed, but I thought it would probably end up okay, finding a group later on. So the first hour, all good. Just a quick break in this video. It would mean the world to me if you would want to subscribe to my channel, give it a little like. I really want to make this a big deal, try to make very cool content. So you subscribing to my channel, giving it a like, would be a major step in the right direction. Thanks, guys. So coming into hour number 2, my pace dropped a bit, which was all good. I was trying to find a more, not cruisy pace, but like a tempo pace, and trying to get into a nice rhythm. During the second hour, I probably went through almost the last half of my first bottle, and by now I started to get a little thirsty. Hour number 3 was a slow but terrible death. As the time went on, all I could think about was water, and all I had was a very strong energy mix in my water bottles. So as we approached the 3-hour mark, I was pretty dehydrated. All I could think about was water. The only thing I didn't have was water. So at the 3-hour mark, just around there was a feed station, and I just emptied every cup of water, trying to get something back into my system. But it was too late. In hour 4 and 5, I was, I wouldn't even say I was pedaling. It was surviving within the last 50 Ks. Major fucking mess. Completely destroyed. Okay. It was terrible. It was no fun. I couldn't push watts that I would never normally do between hard intervals. To really get my point across, I thought it would be interesting to bring in some numbers. So the first hour, my average watts was 290, which was fine. The second hour, my average watts dropped a bit, obviously because I wasn't trying to hang on with the very front of the race in my age group. So in the second hour, my average watts was around 260, which was in the ballpark of where I thought my average for the entire race would be. In hour 3, where I started to feel my lack of drinking, my average watts for that hour dropped to 240, and yeah, hour 4. Yeah, I can hardly describe to you how I was feeling, but my average watts was 180, and barely 200 watts for the 5th hour. I think this is a pretty good example of how a laser focus on one thing can end up hurting you pretty bad. I know a lot about nutrition, I think, after many years of endurance racing. The results of not getting sufficient water didn't, in hindsight, really surprise me. I know that you need water to absorb the carbs, and I know that you simply need water for the body to function as a whole. So in my efforts to try and get all the carbs I could, I neglected the very basic thing, which is that you need water, and you need water more than you need carbs, because dehydrating is very hard to come back from and impossible to do within a 5-hour race.